It's the We'll Fix It in Post podcast with Gnarly Charlie and Rick McNeil.
You know, life doesn't get better than this, Rick, because look, I brought life with me. Life, nice. WTR. I don't know what WTR means. It's not water. It seems like, what the Rick? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's for you.
I feel like we should have maybe consulted Steve Irwin's son before we decided to do a show at Plaza Park, because we're going to have some company today. Have you seen?
I see the animals they're gathering. I don't know if they're putting a plan together to attack us for this bag of Cheez-Its.
I wonder if it has anything to do with that.
I did look online about, is it good to give ducks bread? Because I thought that was a staple of their diet. I grew up, you go feed the ducks bread, old bread.
Right.
They like it old. Nope. They said there's not really any nutrients in there for them. So peas or corn would be better. But
well, I'm not trying to nourish them. I'm trying to get them to leave me alone.
Okay, so.
Hey, do you know Timmy T?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So have you ever seen Timmy? He posts on his social all the time. He goes out to Woodward Park and he feeds the squirrels.
Oh, really?
He doesn't just feed the squirrels. They come up, they get in his lap, they get in his hand. He makes friends with the squirrels, and that's his thing.
I'm trying to do that with the crows at our station.
I've noticed.
But it's not working.
Yeah.
No, but it because the animals, okay, the squirrels. To us, Timmy T is a icon from the 80s or 90s. To the squirrels, he's a food source.
Yeah, yeah.
But they like him. You know, why would you like him?
No, that's true. That's kind of like, oh, never mind. I'm not even going to, every once in a while I think, oh, I'll say this. And I think, yeah, no.
I can't say that. I should not say that.
That's the problem with doing a podcast. And that's, that is actually the good thing about doing a podcast too, is that I want to kick us off today with something. I thought about it in the car on the way over here.
Okay.
All right. I want you to tell a story that you would never, ever tell on the radio.
A story I would never tell on the radio.
It would not be. You can imagine telling this story on the radio, and the hotline would start blinking in the middle of it.
This is not a radio.
Because the PD is calling, saying, "Shut up."
Well,
tell a story you would never tell on the radio.
Okay. And this has actually got a radio background. I just got hired at KKDJ, the home of rock and roll, and I was just an intern. I didn't, but I had a KKDJ tank top on. Well, me and my buddies thought let's go day drinking at Fresno State. It was vintage days going on. So then we got it on a little bit. I'm kind of feeling it. My buddy Craig is working at Sears. And so we're going to pick up Craig at Sears, right? Now, goofing around, we were supposed to go hit golf balls or something. So I put some golf balls down my pants. I was like, joking around. But then I actually did try to steal some golf balls. I thought, I don't know why, but golf balls. And as we walked outside, Craig and my buddy Tud, Craig goes, "Did any of you guys steal anything?" I go, "Why?" "Well, they just did the 555 code. That means the shoplifters." And I go, "Oh, I took these golf balls." and he goes, "Oh, man." And so I thinking, they're totally, completely watching. So like 8 of them. I take the golf balls, I throw them up on the roof at Sears, hucked them way up there.
Because there's no video cameras.
No, I thought I'd get rid of the evidence, right? and so then all of a sudden they come up, and I tried denying it, and that's not happening.
Man.
So then, no, it gets worse. So then they decide to take me into custody, and I go, okay. They come with me. And there's 8 of them. They're so proud. They start walking ahead of me. So now we go in this little room. And as Craig tells the story, he was sitting there. He goes, "Oh, man, Charlie's busted, And all of a sudden, here I come running full sprint out the door because they were so excited about capturing me. They walked in front of me. And I'm like, I just walked slower. They kept going. So I turned and I bolted. So now I'm a fugitive and I'm running across.
Yeah.
And the guys that
you are fleeing the interview.
I'm fleeing, and then the guys from the tire shop come out and they're gonna try to tackle me. But I just finished playing college football. I juked the guy, jumped over the fence. Now I'm running through backyards. This is and I'm going, wow, I'm a real criminal here. I come out of some stranger's house and there's a cop car waiting for me. I'm like, oh, those are the real cops. Now I'll just go walk over there and turn myself in.
This is escalated.
So then I I went to the back. I had to sign a paper, and I had to go home. Had to go to court, and I had to go. And the judge said I go to theft diversion school. Well, that's just a class you take at Cedar Lane's bowling alley. Just happened to be the day of the KKDJ Bowl-a-thon. So here's every at my station at work, and I'm taking a criminal class. And I'm just like, this is just getting stupider and stupider. And the thing is, the value of the golf balls was $3.25, which is not enough to even be a misdemeanor. It's lame. But I guess the moral of the story is kids don't steal golf balls when you're hammered on vintage days.
You know what I think the moral of the story is? The moral of the story is, you dumbass.
I know. Dumb.
Here, have some Cheetos.
Here, let me have some Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its, yes.
Now, don't feed the Canadian geese.
There's a tariff on that Cheez-It. I'm worried that somebody is going to be watching this and they're going to come up with some fact that we don't know about Cheez-Its being
poisonous,
toxic to.
Okay, this one's got the weird mean face and the feathers. The disc. That means he's a fighter. This one fights a lot. And the Canadians are just honkers.
Are we doing the show here just because we wanted the ducks around us?
Those are actually geese. If you want me to be all Steve Irwin on you,
the drumsticks all taste the same to me, son.
Have you ever had a goose? A goose?
A goose. All right.
I don't really eat duck or geese that much.
My story that I would never tell on the radio, luckily, is about you.
Oh, no.
The story that I would never tell on the radio, and I'll tell you why. So I go with Rose Ortega, right?
Uh-huh.
And we go to the Blake Shelton show.
Right.
And we go backstage, and we see Jody's there.
Yeah.
Nick Cash is there.
Yeah.
And Pleshy was there. Your boss.
Yes.
But you weren't there. I'm like, where's Charlie? And Pleshy goes, I think he's here. He's here somewhere, right? And then you come in, and you start talking to Blake. And for, 7 or 8 minutes, you will not stop talking to Blake Shelton about diarrhea.
Oh, God.
And Blake, at that point, is ready to crap his pants so he can leave the room.
He's just like...
And everybody's looking at Jody like, stop him. And Jody is like, he's not mine. And the reason I would never tell this story on the radio, it's a great story.
Not from me.
It's a great story. Blake Shelton and Charlie and diarrhea. The reason I wouldn't tell it on the radio is because you can only say diarrhea so many times before mom tunes out the radio.
Yes,
I would
true.
never tell that
true.
story on the radio because even though it's a funny story, just the word, you say it 3 times. Mom, you remember in radio, mom has kids in the back.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
And once they start singing the diarrhea song, you just want to drop.
You
them
don't want
off
them asking, hey, so mom, what is explosive diarrhea?
Yeah,
what is that exactly?
Is that better than regular diarrhea?
Is that a new kind?
Yeah.
I remember about that too. In order to shut me up, apparently, Blake grabbed my face and he kissed me.
Yes.
And he kissed me.
He did.
And that was like the signal of, okay, you're done.
You did. You remember that?
I remember that
Yeah,
because he grabbed both cheeks and then just kissed me.
If you talk to me about diarrhea, just a spoiler alert, I'm not going to kiss you.
You're not kissing me?
No. But Blake Shelton reaches out, grabs Charlie by the face, and plants a kiss on him.
And then he just got voted world's sexiest man.
Yes.
People magazine. So I'm thinking, do I report him for abuse? No. You thank him and say, that was awesome. You're the world's sexiest man, and you chose to kiss me.
That was great. Anyway, that's my story.
Okay, that's good.
I'm sticking to it.
But it's true. Okay, so you ever do that thing where people ask these fictitious questions like what famous person in history would you want to go to lunch with?
Right.
The thing I don't like about that question is I don't think we understand how our language has changed. Like, I think if we tried to talk to George Washington or they wouldn't make any sense. They wouldn't even understand what we're saying.
Yes.
It was like a whole other language.
People used to carefully consider their words, and they used to construct sentences that were complex. And we don't do that anymore.
No, we just, whatever diarrhea flows out of our mouth.
I know.
That's what it is.
People used to greet each other on the street as opposed to when you roll in my office and I say, yo, bitches.
Good morrow. How are you?
Yes. How are you? I did not expect to encounter you until the morrow.
The pleasantry. Yeah, the pleasantries are gone.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Well, I was talking to somebody the other day about how old people look that okay, in 1963, my mom's yearbook, These are people that were 19 and 20 years old, and they look like they're 60. And I think it's the style of clothes, the hair. It's just like they're old people.
Have you ever seen that? My dad's yearbook is 1963 also. Have you ever seen that meme? It's online, and it says, if you don't believe that the way we dressed and styled ourselves made us look older, then look at this. And it's a picture of Alice from the Brady Bunch, and it puts a younger hairstyle on her, and she's a little bit of a dish.
She kind of looked like Jennifer Aniston. I saw that. You showed it to me.
With the right hair, Alice.
I know. Instead of the Aunt Bee beehive thing where you have to go to the beauty salon, it was a game changer.
Yeah, it really was.
A complete game changer. Because I used to be like, man, yeah.
And think about what old used to be. Are we going down this rabbit hole?
Well, I think it's okay because what about our clothes? Like, no one would wear a Smokey Bear T-shirt at my age in the 60s.
Yeah. At my
no
age,
chance.
Right, exactly. So it's a lot easier to be old these days, right?
Or to be casual. Casual old? Would that what it be?
Casual old, okay. Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. I think church changed. People don't dress up for church anymore. People don't dress up to fly on planes.
Right.
It's a culture change, I guess.
Think about this. Think about the movie Cocoon.
Yeah.
Remember the movie Cocoon? All right, so Ron Howard was the director, and he had to get a bunch of old people. And so we got a bunch of old people, and he needed one guy who could dive into a pool and who could lift another person, and he hired Wilfred Brimley. You remember Wilfred?
Yeah.
Wilfred Brimley, Quaker Oats.
Big mustache.
Diabetes.
Oh, yeah,
and Cocoon. And so Wilfred Brimley, the old guy in Cocoon, was 10 years younger than you and I are right now.
I never thought we were that old. And then he was playing an old guy, and he looked like my grandpa.
But they didn't have to make him up to look like an old guy.
Right.
He looked old when he was 50, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the same thing. Think about the Golden Girls. Not one of them was over the age of 61 when they started, right?
See, that's crazy.
And one of them was 52 or 54, I think.
And Golden, you're thinking of old Estelle. She was the oldest one, but she was the youngest one.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Estelle Getty.
Yeah, Estelle Getty.
Yeah, so it's different. Being old has changed over the years. And I say that from firsthand experience because here I am.
Well, radio's changed too. Like we talked about before, how you have to have that deep voice and kind of people always go, do your radio voice like stacks of whack. We don't talk like that at all. Yeah. But it used to be it was kind of like rapping. Coming at you, we're gonna do this and we're gonna blah blah blah. It was weird language that didn't even make sense.
Yeah. All right, so I have been wanting to ask you about the High Five Rodeo at Woodlake a few weeks ago.
Yeah, okay.
Because it was something that I had never heard of, and I thought this is great. People should know about this because it's a great event, and you went out there and you took part in it.
There were 130 special needs, ranging from all ages, from 6 to 25. And these kids, basically, they come out there and they have the arena set up, and they did some police dog demonstrations, and the kids are just in the audience ready to go. And then all of a sudden, they invite all the kids to come down to the arena in the arena. And there's a couple horses there, and these are special horses that are they're called bomb proof, where they're not going to buck. They don't care. They're just here. Get on me. I don't care. Yeah. And some of these kids were severely handicapped, and some were just mildly, but they got to ride a horse. They got to throw a rope and try to rope a fake animal, and all the cowboys were in there, like encouraging him and helping him, and the smiles were just the best. And they gave me a microphone, and I was kind of like the rodeo clown, kind of going around talking to people.
Yeah.
And there was this one guy.
Talk to him about diarrhea.
This one guy named Jason, though. He's a Down syndrome kid, loves wrestling, just loves it. And he was so pumped up, and I knew he had it in him. I go, do you want to give a Hulk Hogan speech? He goes, yeah. And he got on the mic, yeah, everybody, thank you for coming. And he just cut loose, and that's something when the kids are having just a ball.
Yeah.
And that's one thing when it comes to the special needs kids, they don't have that filter to be maybe embarrassed or the hangups that we have that are stupid. That you're just
Yeah.
worried about what people think or
They're
whatever.
not worried about they're not self-conscious. They're living authentically, and they're not afraid to be authentic.
That's exactly it. And I'm being completely honest with you. Here's how I feel about this right now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, so think about this. Think about the fact that the Wood Lake Lions have been doing this rodeo for this event for a long time.
Yeah.
And here is something that a lot of people might not know about. You know, I think that service organizations, and Wood Lake Lions is a great example, they do so much more. It's like when you see the rodeo, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more under the surface that they are doing to better the community, and that's why I love being part
well,
of it.
even the rodeo queens, for example, there's young ones. There's like 3 levels of queens, and each one is required to do community things. And really, at the end of the day, if you become the queen, then you get to represent them at other community events. It's like community, and that's the backbone of. I think that's why we like to get involved in these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you had the queen candidates coming down?
Yeah,
to the
they
station, didn't
came down to the station, and one's leaving, one's coming in, and they're also, but all the girls, even if they don't win, they're all kind of a kinship and friendly, and they all love. It's one way to put you right in the community. Like, hey, we're having a grand opening of this new store. You're going to be there, help cut the ribbon.
Yep.
You know, but that's really what this is all about. Even, you know, you and I talk about our radio station here in you know, Tulare, Kings County. There's a lot of cities, but there's a lot of community. And I love that. I love that about everything we do.
It is pretty cool that in a lot of places you don't get that. I lived in Las Vegas, as you know, for a lot of years. You know, there is a community of people there, but it's not community like this.
Yeah.
It's just Las Vegas is built to where it can't be. I experienced a lot of it when I lived in Memphis and I worked in DeSoto County, Mississippi. That's real community too. We did a lot. You'll appreciate this. We did a lot of business. I can't tell you how many times I had to go to a Friday night football game to get a contract signed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do business. And people in Mississippi do business with people who are part of their community. So you got to integrate.
Well, so when Vegas, like Henderson is the little city outside where all the people that work in the casinos. And then on the days that the shows are off, like the dark days, Mondays and Tuesdays, that's when the locals go out and go to the bars and stuff? Or?
Yeah, that's when locals are out. Everybody has an industry night. And in Las Vegas, we used to go to Sin, which was, I forget what it stood
Sin
for.
and Sin City? That's so surreal.
But it was something industry night. It stood for something. But industry nights they make a lot of money. And these people who work in the shows, I mean, everybody from the showgirls, there were still a few, you know, shows that actually had showgirls, and all the way down to the nights in the King Arthur. Tournaments. They all go to Sin nights, and they all it's the best time to go out in Las Vegas is Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, I've always liked magic, and when I worked in the Bahamas, I worked for Club Med, which is next door to the Carnival cruise line thing. Well, they had magic shows and stuff there. I started dating this girl who was in the magic show. And when she would get drunk, she would tell me how they did stuff. and I'd be,
that's the one thing you're not supposed to do.
I know, but she would only do it. It's like 4 Bahama Mamas. She's telling me how it worked.
Oh man! Hey, do you knew the Amazing Jonathan?
Yes, I loved him.
I love that guy. I first saw him like in the '90s, and he did a show with Paul Kozak at Catch a Rising Star, and his sidekick was named Tanya. Right? And he just mangled her. Every trick he tried to do to Tanya was messed up. And by the end of the show, she was sawed in half.
Yes.
You know, it was fantastic.
I loved his whole delivery. It was like, I'm doing magic, but I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, but then all of a sudden, he'll pull out a briefcase and then a giant bowling ball and drop it on the ground.
Yeah.
You're like, how did he do that?
How did he do that? The best thing was the first time I saw him and Kozak, the show was a week long. It was Halloween week, and it was mayhem starring the amazing Jonathan and Kozak. And there was so much blood in this show. I can't tell you. You know, it's shocking when you're seeing Penn and Teller and somebody fakes an injury, right? This whole thing was like an Alfred Hitchcock movie for an hour. It's the bloodiest show I ever saw.
My favorite Amazing Jonathan thing, he would act like he's fighting with the sound guy.
Yeah.
He's like, can you bring the monitor down? Can you please bring the monitor? And all of a sudden, and it was probably made of like styrofoam, a monitor would hit him in the head. So he goes, "All right, fine, thanks, okay." But it was like
That's
he's
a good bit. That's a good bit.
It was the best, like fake monitor, but they had the sound effects, so it sounded like he just got nailed in the head by a big heavy monitor.
I love that. So let me, as long as you asked about the Sin night,
Yeah.
I can tell you the most interesting thing to me, one of the most interesting things about living in Las Vegas is if you go to Sin night, you went to Studio 54 on a Tuesday night.
That was MGM, right?
You could, yes. You might be sitting near a table of people and you might start talking to somebody and find out that they are the person who has a white tiger on a leash during the Siegfried and Roy show. Or you might find out that they're a wench who has to dodge horses when the nights come. You know, that there's so
I'm a
many
stunt
weird
wench.
jobs. Or once in a while, what do? I train dolphins. Oh, well, how cool. I mean... There are jobs in that city that don't exist.
Do you remember
else.
it was like called Bleachers Circus? It was a big. They had like Grinder Girl and Mini Kiss.
Yes, Jeff Beecher.
Yes, it was the
Yes.
Beechers crazy. Well, so I met the group Mini Kiss, and I had hired them to play for a gig for the San Diego Padres of all people, because my buddy was on the team. And the next week they invited me to go to Vegas, so I went and met Mini Kiss in Vegas where they performed, and then I walked around with them out of the makeup, you know, and there are two reactions with little people when you're in the public. You either people want to pick them up, or they're terrified and scream and run. And I just feel bad for them because I was kind of like running security for them, sort of. I was just hanging out with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, put him down, put him down.
So each of those reactions is equally horrifying.
They're both wrong and not appropriate.
Yes. I cannot find one in that group that is acceptable.
No. And when people have been drinking and they're horrified, they do not hide it very well. And I was looking at my friends, you know, and they're just like, they're trying to comfort me. Like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I would love to hang out with Mini Kiss. They attract all the attention, take the heat off us fat people.
Yes.
Nobody's going to be saying, "Oh, that guy's fat." They're going to be saying, "Look at that little dude."
Or makes us look giant, don't
Makes
you?
us look giant, sure. Hey, I feel like there are a ton of things to get excited about this year, and I want to make sure that if anybody is joining us who is familiar with it, that they know that it's almost time for us to go back to Yosemite.
Oh, and that is the best. And I've been brushing up on my bear movies.
Yeah.
And things that we need to watch out for.
We need to never be caught alone walking to the cabin with a picnic basket.
That is true. You don't want to bring potato chips in your sleeping bag either.
No,
not a good thing, because they just
Never.
want the potato chips.
You don't sleep with your potato chips in the Jeep with the top off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and think of all the bears. There's you got all the way from gummy to polar.
Yeah.
You know, but the Yosemite bears are usually the brown bears. But there's a code like black, stand back, brown, knock them, get down, white, you're dead.
Well, yeah, so that's exactly right. If it's a polar bear, you might as well just say your prayers because it's over.
Yeah, you're done.
Because they're hungry. And they have
You're a food source.
thousands of years of instinct where food is a lot harder to find. So here's what the ranger explained to me in Alaska years ago. He said if it's a black bear, if it's a brown bear, like including a grizzly, if under normal circumstances you're not on the menu, you want to play dead. And if it's a black bear, fight like hell because they're there to eat you.
Okay.
And so every time I actually since then have seen bears a couple of times in the woods, I go to Yosemite, I always say, do I have it right? Should I be playing dead if something happens? Or I can never remember. But black bear, you're on the menu, and brown bear, you can play dead.
I'm playing coma. No, wait, I forgot. Was it dead or coma? How do we do?
He's still eating me. I played dead and he's still eating me.
But see, the whole thing is teddy bears are cute, and that we think we should pick them up, and they are cute, but they're not. Their moms are not cool with it.
Yeah, and if you see a baby bear, all of you Yosemite campers that might join us, don't underestimate how much the mom loves that baby bear, much more than you do. Do not pet the baby bear. So my buddy Richard, we were roommates in Las Vegas, and he had spent his whole life in Las Vegas, didn't do a lot. He's a little bit younger than me. He hadn't done a whole lot, and so we decided to go to Yosemite. He was so excited. He was telling everybody at work. He worked at Starbucks. I can't wait to see a bear. I'll send you a picture if I see a bear. He was talking bear. And I said, hey, man, the last 3 times I've been to Yosemite, I haven't even seen a bear. You're not even going to see a bear. So we went to Yosemite. We could not swing a dead cat without hitting a bear. Everywhere. We saw probably 6 or 8 bears. I mean, and one of them was in the path on the hike back to our car. And he goes, well, there's a bear, Richard. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're right. There's a bear.
There's one.
Look, there's another bear. We're getting in the car. Look, is that a bear in that field? Yes, it is. Okay, I was wrong. You're seeing a lot of bears.
My friend Dan told me this story. And Dan's grandma used to live up in Oakhurst. And they found this baby bear one time. And they ended up raising this bear. And it was friendly. And like all these cowboys would come over there and wanted to fix his nails, and they'd have a rope around each paw, and they would do stuff to it. And he said that bear was just timid and mild, but at once in a while he would go to scratch his nose and forget and swing that man. And the bear kid done whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
He was playing along with it. And he said that bear ended up going to Hollywood, being in a lot of the TV shows of the 50s and 60s. It became because it was friendly and tame.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it became like a Hollywood bear. Then, of course, he wouldn't talk to him anymore because he was all full of himself,
Yeah.
Once he became a big bear star.
The big bear star. Really can't even walk the streets without. So famous, can't even walk the
I'm
streets.
not going back to Oakhurst ever again.
When I was in Holland, I went to a little town, a medieval town called Maastricht. And the people that I was visiting there, they took me to a pit, and there used to be bears in the pit. And after many years of these bears, they lived in this pit. At some point, the city developed a conscience, and they're like, why do we keep these bears in this pit? And so they let the bears go. They turned the pit into something else. And then somebody made a statue of the bears. It sits by the pit, and it's a tribute to the bears, and it's their way of saying, we're sorry, we didn't realize what we were doing to you. And the bears are sitting on a park bench, and their hands are down, and they have human hands. It's really interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to the podcast, you go see it on YouTube, because we're going to show you a picture of this. It's really amazing.
Well, also I think it was Yellowstone or Yosemite. One of those, they used to like have a place where the bears would come eat the trash, and they would and they realized this is not good.
Yeah,
but it was the site, and
they used to make a spectacle of it for the tourists, and it was very bad for the bears.
It was bad for their health, bad for everything.
Yeah. And also, once they're not afraid, my friend Kelly used to live in, Foresta?
Oh, yeah.
It's in Yosemite, just right outside the valley, or maybe it's part of the valley, actually. So she lived there for a while, and there was this lady who left her window open. She was cooking something, and I don't know. It was the equivalent of putting a pot, one of Aunt Bee's pies on the windowsill. And this bear got into her house and trashed the whole place. And everybody in the neighborhood was furious, because once a bear has gone through a window and found food, nobody's safe.
Now it knows.
Yeah, and the bear had to be destroyed. So they track the bear and they destroy it. And everybody's like, you don't do that in this neighborhood.
Okay, when we were kids, the zoos were like more prison cells. And I would say in our lifetime, they went from a jail cell for Nosy the elephant to kind of a habitat with some stuff.
Yep.
And I just think of when I was a kid, if I caught a bug, I go, well, I better get a stick and a leaf, make them feel like they're at home. But I forgot to put the holes in the lid.
Yeah. There's like a couple of sides to the zoo thing. And the first is, should animals be in captivity? And, my gut reaction is almost always no. But there is also another piece of it, and that is that if we don't raise children to have empathy and understand the animals that we share this world with, then they're not going to be motivated to treat them well in the future. And so I'm kind of wishy-washy.
Well, there's a lot more people now to where the land is being taken away to where there's no room for them. When the place they used to thrive is now an apartment complex.
Thank you for tuning in to the PETA podcast.
But I like PETA when it's got meat in it and it's a pita bread.
That's a PETA you're crazy about.
These are all. I'm just saying, these are things in our lifetime. I think we talked about cars last week.
Yeah.
How it's going to go to where there's no steering wheels, and how zoos have changed. What else is going to drastically change?
So I was coming home from Napa a few weeks ago, right? And I drove through. I decided to take the long way home. I did something really geeky. I went to the Presidio. I went to Lucasfilm's offices.
That's not geeky. That's cool.
And I took pictures of the Yoda statue. And I went inside the lobby and took pictures.
Did you do the voice while you were there? Were you going?
No, I can't do a Yoda voice. I can do a lot of voices. I can't do Yoda. But anyway, I took this whole big long. And one thing that I noticed in San Francisco when I was in the city are the number of driverless cars. And it freaked me out.
Yeah.
Freaked me out. I mean, they were everywhere. There's a company now that's like a driverless car. It's like rideshare, but you don't have an Uber driver. There's nobody driving that thing.
There it is. No steering wheel. No, just there it goes.
I just was like, I was at a light going, oh, it's the year 3000.
Yes. Okay. Did you see Chewbacca or any trace of Chewbacca?
There was no Chewbacca in the lobby. There was a Darth Vader costume from the original.
Now, I'm a big Bigfoot fan, and I know Chewbacca is really just a character of a show, but he's 500 years old, which means Han Solo might be his like 8th human. It's like the opposite of us and dogs.
Yes, it's like us and dogs, right?
It's like, I wonder how many different human pals he had.
Yes, this is not my first rodeo, Solo.
Yeah, Solo. Hey, there was a guy named Nick. 200 years ago.
He was a lot cooler than you.
He was nicer.
Can you do? And by the end of the Star Wars movies, Chewbacca was looking for another human.
Spoiler alert, Rick. Just ruined it for everybody.
Hey, man, you have had 6 years to see the movie. It's no longer a spoiler.
Yeah, it's not a spoiler.
6 years to see it.
Speaking of movies, the Naked Gun 2 is coming out. You showed me the trailer. It looks pretty good.
The reboot of The Naked Gun is going to be fantastic. I would have never, when I first heard that Liam Neeson is the new Drebin, I would have never, ever thought, never.
But I just watched a thing on Airplane, and they said that Liam Neeson, Frank Drebin, the real guy,
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen was a serious actor. And so when he did that, they wanted to play serious. Well, I would say Liam's pretty serious guy.
Well, so here's the problem. A lot of Leslie Nielsen's earlier movie roles are ruined now because every time I watch, like he was the captain in the Poseidon Adventure.
Yes.
He was the captain.
And you want to laugh.
And when he's talking, I'm waiting for him to say, and don't call me Shirley. That's exactly, again, Hector has no idea what we're talking about. Hector, you've never seen the Poseidon Adventure. Have you seen The Naked Gun?
Wait.
Do you know who Frank Drebin is? Wow.
Can you just turn and look at that squirrel right there? Look, just turn. Get a shot of him. He's just enjoying. He's been sitting here the whole time, scratching, taking. He's kind of
That squirrel doesn't look like a squirrel to me, Charlie.
It might be like a porcupine. I'm not sure.
That is a.
Is he having a baby?
How's your eyesight? That's a.
Oh my gosh, that is not a squirrel, is it? That is a duck. Oh my gosh. Never mind.
Charlie.
I swear.
Charlie. Goose.
Look. I thought that was his face. And then I realized, is he having a seizure? No, it's a duck cleaning himself. Never mind. Never mind.
Frank Drebin is one of the best movie characters of all time.
Okay, so I haven't been to a movie in a theater for maybe 2 years. So let's go watch this in theater.
Okay, I'm all about that. You know when the last time I saw a movie in the theater was?
When?
A week and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
I went to go see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
It was awesome.
They don't have. I know the chairs move. They recline. I do morning radio. I can't go in there.
I can't do that.
I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And they serve beer now.
The more
at the movie
comfortable
theater.
it is, the more likely I am to fall. I fell asleep at Wicked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Harry Potter, and I still have never seen the movie. 5 minutes in, I am snoring, and my daughter was hitting me. Damn, you're really too loud.
Mommy's other friend doesn't fall asleep in the movies.
Yeah, Mom's other friend sure is better in the movies than you.
So, if you have any doubts like
that is so right. Well, you don't even understand how right that is.
Mom's friend, Uncle Bobby, Uncle Daddy doesn't fall asleep.
He's not your uncle.
So, if you have any doubts about Frank Drebin and Liam Neeson doing it, you should go to the internet right now and watch the trailer for the new Naked Gun.
Well,
it
first,
will crack you up.
Watch all 6 episodes of Police Squad. Watch the movie Airplane, just to set the whole thing. And
So about Leslie Nielsen, I was reading something about him just the other day, which is odd. We're just really odd
yeah,
people, aren't we? So I was reading that in a number of the movies that he did, he carried this. I love this about the guy. He carried in his pocket a fart machine. And
those electronic ones with the beeper.
no, it was like my friend Buck used to have one that you had to hold it in your hand a certain way and squeeze it, and it would make the noise because there was a little hole in it as you held against your. And he used to have that on the set. And when things got entirely too serious during a take, he would end a take with one of those.
Oh, that's
and everybody
funny.
would bust up.
Well,
I'm going to bring one to our department head meeting next week.
Well, did you ever saw The Usual Suspects? You know, the Kevin Spacey.
Believe it or not, I've never seen it.
Okay, well, that's your assignment this week. But there's a scene where all 6 of these guys are in the lineup, and apparently Del Toro,
Benicio.
yeah, had ate a bunch of. He had gas and he was just ripping farts, and they're all supposed to be serious, and if you watch it and you know that information, you can see that they're clearly all just laughing and goofing around.
They are having a day.
It's having a day, and the director's getting mad, and all of them are trying not to laugh, and it brings a whole other side to this. Now you got to see the movie. Okay?
Yeah, okay, I'll see it. I know basically the plot, and it sounds super interesting.
Yeah.
And the guy that directed it, I forget his name, but he's done a lot of interesting stuff since then.
Yeah, it's a good one. You got to have it. You got to watch it. I'm sure there's stuff I haven't seen that, or maybe I'm too ashamed to admit that I've never seen it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've gone so long, I can't say that I've never seen it.
Wow, does anything come to mind?
No, but I mean, I
Well,
don't
some
know.
of the every once in a while, when I hear somebody who's never seen The Wizard of Oz or
Right.
Gone with the Wind, or
Like
have you ever
Hector.
seen Gone with the Wind?
I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
Well, Hector has an excuse. He was born in the 2000s,
He wasn't
I
he
think.
wasn't a zygote in the 1900s.
Like when we say a movie from 1939, what do you think immediately? Yeah,
Yeah, he just.
Hector's a man of few words.
I mean, but
Doesn't
for
have
the
a lot
audience
to
at home,
say,
he
but
nodded. He nodded a no.
Well, so there are a few movies like. I'll tell you what we're doing right now. My mom, I sit with my mom at night
Mhm.
and help take care of her, and we're watching Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Oh,
We're like started this thing, and
The
I
Birds?
said, yeah, and she loves Jody Joe, my mom.
yes.
She always says, I listened to Jody and to Charlie, and then she catches herself and she goes, but that was when you were not living in town. You were working somewhere else. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Moms
But-
of radio people, they always want to make sure they're not cheating on us.
yes, I told her the story about Jody's dad, Lee, being an extra in Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
He was an actual little boy running. There was a close-up of him, and he's the one little boy that's going, and looking behind him like,
Yes.
That's Lee. It's so crazy.
All right.
We're K-Jug invites. Tell you, you've been there, you put a bunch of our shows, you know us.
Yeah, a bunch of times, absolutely.
Been more than a few, actually, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
We
we're
always
just
love
talking about it. You played Jug Fest, and you played out in the largest crowd ever in the Hanford Civic Park,
I
and
remember
you were
that.
also the only guy to ever play Girls and Guitars.
it. Oh,
That's a good thing. No, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
good,
You're
good.
honorary.
And
honorary.
And in the Hanford thing, they still talk about when Scotty McCreery had the place. The whole town was
Really?
Yeah, it was.
We remember that one. I mean, it was the park was packed out, and it was a beautiful night. So
It was
yeah.
a lovely night, and usually it's so hot out there, but everything just turned out perfect.
It was aligned in the stars that
Yeah,
night.
that's right. And that was, I'll tell you, Charlie, that was the month that I started work at K-Jug 11 years ago.
God,
Holy
11
moly.
years ago.
Yeah, the first show, I showed up and took credit for it, even though it had nothing to do with
That was
planning
perfect.
it.
That was perfect.
As you should.
I
Remember
took
that
all
time
the place.
when he lost on American Idol? Oh, wait, he never lost. He never lost.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Listen, I am really curious how you and Dustin decided to put this tour together for the summer. I
Yeah.
mean, have you guys toured before? This Two for the Road tour sounds great.
Yeah, we have not. We've played shows together, but never like a full-on tour. And we've been buddies. Just I've always been a fan of his music, and I think just conversation started happening, and before we knew, it was like, why don't we just do the thing?
Does he play baseball?
He's a big golfer. I'm not sure about baseball.
Because I could
but
see you guys playing some catch on stage, I mean,
I'd be about it. I got my glove everywhere I go.
that's
so,
what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Rick, one of these, he was playing at Madera Fair one year, and we'd just gone to lunch, and we were hanging out, and then he went by, he was on stage, and he went, and and I didn't know he was holding on to my hand, and he was shook. And I almost pulled you off the stage accidentally. And I was like, great.
It wouldn't be. I've been known to fall on stage, fall off stage. It's like I don't know why, but I'm like a magnet for that kind of stuff.
Well, it always happens when Charlie's involved. I mean, he's injured a number of artists.
But I'm like a cat. I land on my feet every time.
There you go. 9 lives. I love it.
It's not gonna last like that forever.
No.
Yeah. So I have to ask, how's your family? I love your family. The first time I met you was with almost your entire family. I think your sister wasn't there, but they're great folks.
Yeah, 11 years ago, I was still a young pup, so the family was going around with me. But my folks are doing great. My sister's doing great. My wife, Gavi, is fantastic, and we have a little 2.5-year-old now that we're raising, and it's just so fun to see him grow and just what he's getting into, his love for things. He loves music right now. Everybody in the family or in the band's got a different song that's like they're attached to. So it's just fun to see him kind of blossom.
Well, so I have to ask, how does that change things? Because when I first met you, you were whatever anybody asked, you're like, let's go, let's get out there, let's do it, let's make it happen. And you've always held on to that work ethic, but it's a little harder to leave home now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I still, if I can make it work, I try to make it work. But it's there's a little more going on now, with preschool and with just wanting to be present, as a dad. So it is tougher to leave home, but they come out on the road a good amount with me, so that helps. And Avery loves the road. He's got his own little bunk on the bus, and so he knows even when I'm away. He's like, "Dad, you have a good show?" Like he knows what I'm up to.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's having a child is like having a toy that you never get sick of. Like most toys you get sick of. But this one, and then he doesn't get to stay the same because as he grows, that 3-year-old guy's gone, and he's now a 5-year-old, and then he's 8-year-old.
They'll kill me this
morning.
morning.
But that's what happens. It's like that part of him is gone, and so you just enjoy each level because it's going to change, man.
Yeah, it's a great evolution, so it's fun to watch.
Well, and he's going to become much more business savvy. You're going to come home one day, and he's going to say, "Dad, how are the merch numbers last night?"
Oh, gosh. Hey, buddy, we need some help. Get out there.
That's right.
But,
no, you should actually have your kids sell your merch, especially not till they start losing their teeth. Then they're out.
Yeah. While they got the cuteness factor.
Full teeth and cute. Scotty McCreary's here with us today right now.
Yeah, you feel like family to us. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. We appreciate you.
Always good to see y'all, and hope we get out to see y'all again soon.
You got it, man. Thanks, brother. All right, man.
Y'all.
Thank you, friend.
No problem at all.
It's good to see you.
Y'all too.
So we're back from Scotty. All right, it's been a great. It was a good idea to come out to the park today. We had a chance to relax. We got a chance to feed the geese and the ducks and the swans. I don't know.
I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what Scotty McCreary taught me one time? He was trying to play a song and he only had a phone, and he took a regular glass and he put his phone in the glass, and it made it like amplified it. It did some sort of like it's a speaker trick.
Wow.
Just a regular glass, and you put your cell phone in it and turn it on. It somehow bounces. It's primitive, but it worked.
He should have told you to take the water out first. Huh?
Yes, that was the problem. And Siri drowned that day. It was horrible.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.